First day of the first round of the 2024 NCAA Men's Lacrosse Championship wraps up tonight in College Park, Maryland. The Princeton Tigers, champions of the Ivy League, will take on the Maryland Terrapins on their home field. Take a look at the bracket. Mentioned this is the fourth and final game of the first day. Virginia and Duke advance. Duke will take on the winner of this game in next weekend's quarterfinal action. And then moments ago, Denver was able to get by Michigan. They await the winner of Towson and Syracuse, which is tomorrow. Chris Cotter, Paul Carcaterra with you. Glad you could join us. We've got two teams here playing in this nightcap that are two of the most storied programs in all of college lacrosse history.
Absolutely, Cotter. Maryland, 21 straight NCAA tournament appearances. That's the longest streak in college lacrosse. I'm going to be honest with you, though. They're a little bit vulnerable right now, and they're playing a Princeton team. Back-to-back Ivy champs, maybe the best young talent in all of college lacrosse.
Maybe the young man with the most firepower, though, is an old head, junior Cotter.
He's got the $1 million stroke, the lefty. It is so smooth. Multiple release points, the accuracy. Cotter has range. He has the ability to hit the back of the net in bunches. He's got the first step also. He has the potential to leave Princeton, the all-time leading goal scorer, in a storied program with legends offensively.
Freshman Burns and Kabiri at attack, Wade at midfield, and he's joined by a sophomore, Chad Palumbo.
They complement each other so well. Burns and Kabiri, high school teammates, they speak the same language. Palumbo and Wade, both athletic, dodging young midfielders who have the ability to separate.
If Maryland wants to upset this apple cart, they're going to rely on this man right here, Ajax Zapatella.
The ultimate eraser, two-time Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. Every single week he has the big-time matchup, and he's gotten the best of it. He's a technician, he's got great feet, but he also could play the body. Third overall pick in the PLL draft Tuesday night by the Maryland Whips. He's also the heartbeat of the Terps. When you need a play, you stop, you find one, because it's gonna happen.
Scoring one of his 2 goals on the season in transition. Ajax Zapatella, once again, the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. He's a first-team consensus All-American, and he will be playing for the Maryland Whips in the PLL this summer. Coach Tillman, a couple of national championships, right? 17 and 22. He has his team every year playing at a high level.
He's the absolute standard in terms of just game preparation and management. This is not your typical Maryland year, but he is one of the best, if not the best, in college lacrosse. And then Matt Madelon, you talk about a guy who could build a program. His team has been fleeced in terms of the transfer portal. When Princeton players have graduated because of the Ivy transfer rules, they go off to other pastures. He just develops young guys.
McMeekin and Weirman will face off on the Big M, and we are underway. Weirman scoops it to his teammate, and he picks it up. Weirman dominated McMeekin in the first meeting back in February between these two teams, and Maryland gets on the board just like that. It's Jack Corus. Cadillac finds the back of the net.
That's what they needed. Everyone's been asking, where has the Terps offense gone? Well, you find a non-traditional set right off the face-off. Chorus is the chameleon of all the midfielders, can play offense, defense, and wings. He won that Penn State game in the regular season by instant offense off the wings. Once again, he does it.
You saw the splash when the ball hit the back of the net. The skies opened up within the last 10 minutes, and now they're clearing out a little bit. We've got a rainbow on the horizon, the sun coming in a little bit from the west. It's really an odd weather night here.
That's a big win for McMeekin. The last time they played, these two teams, earlier in the season, Weirman and McMeekin faced off 16 times. Weirman won 15 of them.
Yeah, Weirman was 20 of 23 in total for that game, Clark, and Princeton just had no answer for them as Maryland went on to win 13-7. That came back on February 24th. But this is a different Princeton team, and it's a different Maryland team. Both these teams are very different than they were back in February. You have to admit that. Princeton's hot. They've won 4 in a row, including the last 2 in the Ivy League tournament, to take that crown for the 2nd straight year. Here's McAsee, 91 in black.
It is dumping rain.
Yeah, it is absolutely pouring right now. McAsee on Zapatello. That is a great matchup to watch all night long. Palumbo, nowhere to go with it. Turnover in the middle of the field, still looking for it. Both teams having a hard time coming up with the GB, and Maryland gets it.
This is their strength. The defensive end, Logan McNaney, the goalie, 2022 championship game MVP. Ajax Zapatelli, three-time All-American. The staples who've won huge games have been in this moment and delivered.
Michael Gianfrancaro in net for Princeton. He had 20 saves in that game back in February. He's used to seeing a lot of rubber. Here comes Ryan Siracusa. The midfield for Maryland has got to produce, don't they?
100%. This is a unit that has struggled from a shooting standpoint.
Turnover, here comes Princeton.
They've got 3 regulars on their offensive midfield shifts that are shooting under 16%. I mean, that is disaster zone.
Kabiri, Maryland goaltender Logan McNaney deflects it, stays with Princeton. And here's John Dunphy, part of that second midfield line. He'll play some first midfield for this Princeton team. Over to Kabiri on the far side. Shot save made by the goaltender McNaney. And quickly out. Terps on the run. Sharkey. Spanos. He loses his stick in the ball. That's Mulshine.
Yeah, get used to that name. If you don't know him yet, you will. Colin Mulshine. Playing like a first-team All-American the last few weeks in Ivy play. Got guys like Sam King and Matt Brandow, CJ Kirsten. 3 matchups held them to 5 total goals.
Princeton back on 6v6. Take a look at that on the left side of your screen.
Spanos is playing attack for Braden Urksa, who was a game-time decision who we might see in this matchup. Mulshine owns round 1.
Palumbo in all kinds of trouble. GLE gets it up top. Tough angle shot. Misses the cage.
You know, it's interesting, Chris, because you have 2 teams kind of coming in with different momentum, right? Everyone's talking about Princeton and their offense. The last 4 times they've played the Terps, they've lost all 4. They've never had a lead in any of those games. Maryland has dominated this matchup as of late.
And they're out in front here early, 1-0. Palumbo had a fantastic Ivy League tournament. 7 goals, had 5 in the semifinal win for Princeton against Yale. McNaney with another save. He's made a couple of good ones early.
Yes, he has. If you watch him, too, he's so calm in terms of his progression as a goalie, his steps, always in control.
Alvini brings into the offensive end, but another turnover and a good look to get it to the middle of the field.
This is what Princeton wants to do. You don't want to play Maryland 6-on-6. You got to take some chances.
Sean Cameron, 11 in black, also had a fantastic Ivy League tournament. This midfield group for Princeton really came to play in that tournament. It was a big difference maker. McAsee now is going to wait for Princeton to sub in. Full head of steam. Watch out here. Flag down. It's going to be a delayed call against Maryland. See the flag on the field, waiting for the dead ball, and there'll be a call against the Terps. Cameron looking to dodge. Now down the alley. Behind to Kabiri. Kabiri rolls to his right, shoots too high. Look out, boy. See that student trainer walking on the other far sideline?
Head on a swivel.
Yeah, man, that shot from Kabiri had some heat on it.
You know, it's interesting as we get this call here.
White penalty number 8 was offside. Technical 30. Reception shots like 60.
Get into a little specialty set here with the man up for Princeton. They've had a lot of success throughout the course of the year, cashing in around 45%. Maryland's man down defense, not typical of a lockdown type unit. Teams are cashing in at 58%. Want to hold them around 20. Like the national leaders are always in the 20s.
Yeah, Princeton.
Or under.
You mentioned Princeton, their man up this year, really got a boost in the Ivy League tournament and during this 4-game win streak, all the way up now to 13th in the country at over 45%. Here's Kabiri over to the far side. Mackesy on the near side. Forcing it inside. Ball tipped. No, it was not. Off a Princeton player at the very least. In the end, and it's going to be a turnover.
Looks like the rain is slowing down. We got an incredible rainbow.
An amazing rainbow. I mean, that's one of the strongest rainbows I think I've ever seen on the horizon. Take a look at that full rainbow here in College Park. Maryland a failure to clear the ball. So we are at full strength.
And that's been a part of the game that's driving John Tillman crazy. That's 4 straight turnovers. He said it's just driving them nuts, right?
Scored their goal 9 seconds into the game, and since then they haven't been able to get any kind of rhythm going offensively at all.
If you look at them in the past too, they've been so clean in terms of clearing and the lack of turnovers. That's what's plagued them this season, and that's why they're 8-5. That and the shooting percentage and the lack of hitting the back of the cage, I would say the 2 things that stick out the most.
Yeah, they're shooting just 28% on the season, Clark. Just over 28%. That's good for 44th in the country. Still plenty of time for Princeton to shoot. Kabiri shoots. Also wide, but it's backed up by Wade.
You know what's interesting about Wade? He's a midfielder, but he will dodge from all over the offensive set. Kind of positionless in terms of where he can go.
Looking to dodge on a shorty. That shot wide. To race for the ball on the sideline. Stays with Princeton. Good hustle that time, though, by Jack McDonald.
I don't know about that call. I think McDonald might have been closer to the ball when it went out of bounds on the shot.
Princeton 0 for 8 shooting. Talk about shooting woes. They need to get something going. Palumbo, maybe he can do it. Swim dodge. Down the alley, but can't get by Alvini. Now up top, Mackesy shoots. McNaney makes the save.
So good low. See how he just gobbles that up? When you shoot at his feet, it's one of his strengths, Logan McNaney.
Kohler staying on the field. Now he'll sub out. It's Chorus. Syracuse making his way on, as is Eric Molliver. 4 a year, running out of the box tonight.
They have Molliver at midfield, Spanos at attack. We still haven't seen Urksa, 10 in white. Leading scorer, was injured. Limited in practice this week.
Syracuse puts a shoulder into the defender. Can't get any space. Now back to his right, over to the far side. Finding Kelly. Nothing. Kelly now shoots. Steered aside. Fresh 60 seconds on the shot clock.
Syracuse is a good story. Waited his turn. 38 in white, an Atlanta boy like you.
Yeah.
Very two-handed midfielder.
Several Atlanta area players in this game, including this young man right here. Molliver forward. Nice pass inside, and Kelly scores. No! Yes, he did. That was the muted reaction. Made me pause for a moment, but Kelly definitely buried it.
Backs against the wall. Some people question, why are the Maryland Terps in the tournament? There's belief, there's cagey vets. One is Molliver, one is Kelly. Terps up by 2. Years later, that Princeton unit and those guys who graduated, you'd love to know their net worth.
If you ever need a loan, call one of those guys. He might be able to help you out. Weirman again. This time he opts to pass it off, and a goal by Maryland. Twice off the face-off. First it was Cadillac Chorus, and now Daniel Kelly with 2 goals in a row. The Terps are up 3-0 in this game, despite having very little going right for them on the offensive end.
You gotta love the pop from the senior Daniel Kelly. Had the game-winning goal against Virginia a season ago. He's a left-handed hired shooter who could sting the bottom corner, and this shows you the value of Luke Weirman, the KG vet. Luke Weirman is an elite fan. faceoff man has won more than any Terp player ever. But he is a lacrosse player with big-time skills and the ability to hit in transition. So that is a Luke Weirman type of presence goal.
2 goals in 5 seconds, and 2 of the 3 goals immediately off the faceoff. Princeton trying to get one back and trying to find the back of the net for the first time tonight.
I will say, though, the good sign is they're generating shots. In the 3 previous games, Maryland held Princeton to under 30 shots. In the Ivy League championships last week, both games over 50 shots. We saw an offense that was relentless, put pressure on a defense. So that is a good sign. They're just not hitting the back of the net. They're 0 for 9 right now.
How about McAsee here? All the way to the far side of the field, couldn't let one rip. Too high from Cameron. Maryland wins the race and possession.
That's a really tough shot. You don't have the backup. You have a low angle on a lefty goalie, too, because Cameron's driving that right pipe. So if he hits the far corner, he has to deal with Logan McNaney, who's a lefty, who's going to gobble that up, even if it's on cage.
0 for 10 shooting Princeton so far today. The volume shots are there. They just can't hit the cage. Meanwhile, Maryland 3 for 4.
You like the pace if you're a Princeton fan. You don't like the results. You're down 3-0, but you're playing a different pace than the past.
So Erks is in the game, 10 and white. His first action, cleared to play just before game time today. He was in the protocol all week long, so it's great to see 10 right here with the ball in his cross.
Yeah, fastest player on the Maryland offense. He's a speed dodger who demands a slide.
Turnover, Spanos riding like a banshee. Princeton with the clear, still looking for that elusive first goal of the game. Logan McNaney's been great in goal early on for Maryland. Clark, I think you mentioned it before. It's now 4 games where Princeton has failed to even forge any kind of a lead against Maryland.
You know, I think one reason, too, is your star, Cotter McAsee, has had trouble separating from Ajax Zappatello. You got a lefty on a righty. Zappatello has played him near flawlessly.
Outstanding defense. Eric Kohler on Dunphy, not giving him an inch. .20 seconds to shoot for Princeton. They can't get any good shots off.
You see, though, how he times the bottom hand. Right when McAsee's about to shoot, he disrupts the bottom hand. That's why Ajax Zappatello, in terms of his technique and the timing of checks.
Kabiri finally breaks the ice. Tigers on the board.
They brought the theme song from Ithaca. This is the Princeton goal song. Get used to it. Nate Kabiri is a fantastic low-angle shooter. And he drives this left side. He's a natural right-handed player. But as I mentioned, when Cameron was driving the right, you're dealing with a lefty McNaney. This time, the lefty McNaney has to deal with the offside placement of Kabiri. And he hits the back of the net. This player has had a magical freshman year. 3rd most points ever in Princeton history for a first-year player, behind Michael Sowers and Kevin Lowe.
Weirman, crafty, wins it to himself, gets it to a teammate. Siracusa gets a step on his defender, thought he might let that one rip. Instead gets it behind the cage to Kelly. Spanos. Chorus opting to go behind the cage and come around the other end. Siracusa here, shoots. John Fricaro makes his first save of the night.
That's too easy for Gio. You'll see the top hand of Gio It is rapid fire. He is an electric goaltender. You mentioned earlier the 20 saves against the Terps in their last outing. If Gio had an average game, Maryland was scoring 18, 19 goals. He was awesome in the first contest.
Wade trying to work on the short. He can't get much going. To Mackesy now behind the cage. Kabiri goes around the other side. Cameron. He is lightning quick. Palumbo. Mackesy. Look at the help coming. When he got it to that left hand, nothing doing. Mackesy loses a glove. They're going to have to blow this one dead.
I think that was Tucker Wade, 19 in black.
You're right.
He's got a short stick on him. I think that's the matchup. Palumbo is getting long pole attention. Palumbo scored the 7 goals in the Ivy Championship weekend up in Ithaca a week ago. Wade is getting short sticked, and he is a fantastic athlete. I like to see 19 in black take a spin.
Here's Mackesy now. He pulls McNaney out. Now Zappatello recovers, locks him down. 4 to shoot. Burns can't get it up, and now shot clock is going to wind down. Beautiful defensive possession by the Terps.
Zappatello is bringing his A game. He is making it known for Princeton. If you want offense, stay away from me.
Under 2 to play in this first quarter. 4th and final game of this first day of the first round of the 2024 NCAA Men's Lacrosse Championship. We'll have 4 more games for you tomorrow, all on ESPNU. Chorus waiting for his mates to check in. Among them, Urksa. Urksa uses a Oliver pick.
They have Urksa up at midfield. This is the first time he's really played midfield all season.
Of course, wanted to let that rip. Couldn't handle the pass, though. Back to Spanos. Jump shot, scores!
Second half of the season, Eric Spanos has been the Terps' most consistent, best offensive threat. He was a red shirt in 2022 when the Terps went undefeated and won a national title. He was on the scout team going against all the best players. Last year played midfield. This year midfield and attack. He's a big body. He's a sharpshooter. He uses the pick. And the timing of the jump, when he gets the separation, is a thing of beauty.
That is not a beautiful stat if you are a Princeton fan right there. No. That is a lot of misery. Over 232 minutes of it, and it continues tonight.
You know what I love about Eric Spanos, too? If you look at the scouting report, he's a heavy right-handed player. Dodged up that left goal line extended area. You see the hard work, the dedication. I remember talking to John Tillman one time this spring, well after practice. I heard something in the background. I asked him what it was. He said, well, Spanos is still on the field doing some shooting, getting the extra reps. The kid cares. Well, the care is resulting into G's.
Urksa logging some steps out of the box tonight. Now out there with Murphy. Got Siracusa out there as well. You'll see some of Zach Whittier. You'll see some Jack Brennan as well throughout the course of the night. Uses a Kelly pick. Gets an easy shot and just misses it wide, but Kelly is right there beautifully. Siracusa can't let one go. Again, trying to feed it into Urksa in front, but it's picked off. Horn sounds just before a shot was able to be taken by the Tigers. And how about Spanos on the defensive end in conjunction with Zapp making that play. 4-1 our score after 1. Tills and Haas sharing the word. Great defense by Maryland in that first quarter.
Yeah, Maryland was unbelievable. Offensively, they got varied goals. He's hitting Kelly again. The transition sometimes has been hard to find in 2024. Spanos hitting the back of the net, and then the wall is twofold in the goal with McNaney and Ajax. An absolute eraser. Props to Ajax Zapatello too. Medal of Honor recipient in the Big Ten. You know, there's 10,000 athletes in the Big Ten. Medal of Honor is given to 28 student athletes. There's 14 Big Ten schools, one male, one female. And he is the male athlete at Maryland receiving that Medal of Honor. It's academics, it's community service, it's success on the field. He checks every box. We know about him as a first-team All-American, top PLL draft pick. He's quite the young man, Cotter.
That is for certain. He is a decorated Maryland Terrapin, that is for sure. Oliver. Chorus. Oliver at first. He's running out of the box tonight, as is Erksa. To Kelly. GLE, he's shorted, so let's see if 45 can make something happen. Gets it to Spanos.
What I'd like to see with Erksa coming out of the box, he's going to take a long stick midfielder because he's going to get that pull attention. He should get into a big little game behind the cage and find a short stick.
Kors with the jumper. That looked just like Spanos as we saw in the first quarter. This time Cadillac buries the bouncer.
Said it earlier, I thought he was the third most valuable player on this team behind Ajax Zapatello and Logan McNaney. Chorus does everything. You saw him scoring a goal off the wing on the face-off for the Terps' first goal. Now he's inverting. You talk about a jack of all trades. Put him on a wing, put him behind. He finds the back of the net. And when he gets going, this offense is at another level. When Chorus is hitting the back of the net, it just tells you there's a very type approach offensively.
Battle for the loose ball, no possession yet, still nothing. Still no possession. Terps come out of there with it, it's Maltz.
It's a great grounder by the senior Danny Maltz. Kid is tough, he's bounced back. He was a starter in 2021, more of a reserve in 22, and then back to the starting lineup the last couple years. Great off-ball player, but can get you those dirty grounders as well.
Whittier and Murphy in the game at midfield. That's Whittier, 13. Beautiful move to get free. Bouncer just a little wide.
Whittier has struggled in terms of hitting the back of the net. He's shooting 14% on the season. You think of Murphy, too. Murphy was a 30-plus goal scorer in 2022. Now he only has 6. He's shooting 16%.
There's Whittier. They're giving him that shot. Yeah, those two have 8 goals combined on the season. Whittier trying to get to the cage. Forced back behind. Erksa.
This is the big little here. You got to set that pick if you're Maryland. Give Erksa a pick, let him go turbo.
Murphy. That looked like a pass, and Spanos finishes it off. I wasn't sure if it was a shot or a pass. We'll call it a pass. It was a thing of beauty if it was.
Terp Nation's feeling it. That confused the entire stadium, including you and me, Cotter. Watch the Princeton jerseys. They play it like it's a shot, and it's almost like they take their foot off the gas, right? Thinking it's going to be a reset or Maryland is going to run it out for another opportunity, but it's a quick catch and find the inside. To Mr. Automatic tonight, Eric Spanos. This team is feeling it. We're not accustomed to watching the Terps the last 6 weeks play with this type of urgency offensively.
And Wehrman is picking up where he left off when these two teams met in February. He's won 6 of 8 at the face-off dot, and they give him another win. They're dominating possession in this game, Carg. And Wehrman can shoot like he does right now and misses it wide.
Don't underestimate the journey and path of Luke Wehrman. As a freshman in 2021, when it was a 1-goal game against Virginia in the national championship, do you remember who took the last shot?
And it was right down to the last millisecond.
Yep, that was Luke Wehrman. It was devastating for him. The year after, against Cornell in the national championship, he wins the title. He's a first-team All-American. He's the most prolific face-off man in Maryland history.
Oliver gets his defender to fall, and then he finishes it off.
There's the pop from Eric Molliver. Sat out last year with an ACL tear. It takes some time when quickness is part of your game. He's running out of the box at midfield. Gets a defender caught up, and it is a smell ya later.
Just about 18 minutes in before we got the first smell you later. I haven't heard one actually in a couple of weeks. That deserved it right there. Molliver, what a great move, and then the finish. So you got Kelly, you got Molliver, you got Chorus, you got everybody contributing. And Madelon says, I need a timeout. We got to talk this over. 7-1, the Terps at home with the lead.
At one time, 10-2, and they held on.
Yeah, Michigan came back to make that, I think, a 3-goal game before Denver was able to pull away in the fourth quarter. Wehrman here trying to get a shot off. Lost it out of the back of his cross. Princeton coming up with it.
Wehrman's dominating faceoffs. 8 out of 10 faceoffs. He's been automatic. Princeton doesn't have a shot in this quarter because of Luke Wehrman.
I think this is the first time they've even been on this half of the field.
And it's interesting, they're getting their shots in the first quarter, but they're not on cage. Only 2 of their 12 shots on cage.
So the Tigers must have a realization, and Coach Madelon coming out of that timeout, they have got to make the most out of every one of these possessions. Cameron trying to use that quickness up top. That's Kabiri. Trying to get a pick from Wade. Cameron on the wing, trying to get to the middle of the field and get his hands free. Pass goes high, and Burns can't handle it. Turnover. I'm thinking that is not what Coach Madelon had in mind coming out of that timeout.
I don't think anyone expected this. When you think of the offense exploding for Princeton the last few weeks, Maryland searching for goals. They flipped the script here and once again owning the Tigers. Last 4 games, Princeton has never had a lead on Maryland.
It is going to be an uphill battle for the rest of this evening if they're going to try and get it back. Chorus and Spanos up top. Still all kinds of time on the shot clock. Siracusa shoots wide.
You know what I like about having Molliver at midfield, and then you could flex between Spanos and Urksa. You're bringing defensive midfielders out of their natural spots, right? Up top, on the wings, in space. You saw in the last Molliver goal. You take a long stick midfielder behind the cage who's not used to playing there. There's no pick, but he has to deal with the back part of the goal. And attackmen who play midfield know exactly how to use that space.
There's Molliver right here on the wing. Siracusa. 10 to shoot. Kelly backs it up. Terps will have 8.
So when Molliver's in here, I would continue to dodge, not from up top, but from behind in the low wings.
Spanos scores! with the shot clock winding down. That's a killer.
This was a funky release. Looked like he was almost surprised that Daniel Kelly was able to thread the needle. Late in a shot clock, Kelly off his back foot just finds the backside. And Spanos knows he doesn't have the time, Cotter, to switch hands. He catches it across his body and in one motion just backhands it. You talk about offensive awareness, understanding, clock and score. Aaron Spanos now has a hat trick.
It looked like Kelly wanted to dump that in the corner. Then at the last second, he said,
why not?
Maybe I can get it to Spanos. Let's give it a shot. And it worked. Like pretty much everything else is working for the Terps tonight. Out shooting Princeton 9-0 in this second quarter.
When you have Luke Wehrman playing like this, it doesn't matter what type of offense the other team has. And now what's going to happen is this offense with Jimmy Mitchell, their offensive coordinator, that is so strong in terms of getting their touches and getting into a flow. It's hard to come by.
Signorello in the game now for Maryland. That's one of the things when we were talking to Tillman all week long, he said, a lot of guys are going to get playing time because I'm trying to find the right combination here this time of the year, late in the year with injuries and everything else. You're going to see guys like Signorello getting some playing time.
Well, look at the two tweaks he made. Molliver at midfield, Spanos at attack. You're getting production, 4 goals combined out of those two players just with that tweak alone.
Princeton gets the turnover. They need something to happen on the offensive end on this possession. Still have yet to get a shot off in this quarter. Last time they had it, it resulted into a turnover coming out of a timeout. They get the clear. So Kabiri and company. Tommy Barnes coming out of the box.
You could go heavy dose with your first midfield. Right now, they're running their second midfield. I'd have Wade and Palumbo out there immediately because they haven't been on the field.
That's Kabiri. Yeah, they're going with their second midfield. It's got Stad, a part of it.
I get it. You want them to get their reps, but this first unit has hardly played in the second quarter.
Stad shoots and scores.
Maybe that's why.
Yes. Lucas Stad says, "Throw me a bone here, Carter. This is why I'm on the field, because I can score."
We know that. We covered them in the Ivy Championship. This is a unit that was productive up there, but not at the level of Wade and Palumbo. Palumbo had 7 goals last week. This is really good ball movement. And if you watch Jimmy Mitchell teams, they always shoot with angles. In between the hashes, right? A lot of times when you see ball movement, you look for the backside. That player catches the ball maybe at 9 o'clock or 3 o'clock. With Jimmy Mitchell's offense, it's at 10 and 2. Those guys are catching that ball with way more to look at.
Loose ball push against Princeton on the faceoff. Wehrman again pads what was already a gaudy stat. 10 of 12. Stanek with his 6th of the year. Senior from Brighton, New York.
So you see I'm not nuts, right? He had 6 goals this season. Palumbo had more than that last weekend.
Yeah. Palumbo was able to find the net 7 times in those 2 games in Ithaca.
I'm always about giving the second midfield plenty of reps. But Princeton has not had the ball at all because of Wehrman. These middies are sitting there fresh as can be.
At the under 7-minute mark of this first half, Chorus on the shorty. Gets by, gets to the goal, but then gets hacked from behind. He's going to be called for in the crease, and they'll turn it over. You can hear that check from up here. And we're a long way away. Now you're going to see Palumbo. Cameron coming in along with the freshman Tucker Wade. Here's Wade.
Lindsay Zapatello is so good in the pick game, right? You want Mackesy to get involved, so you go big, little, you put a short stick to hope that off the pick game he will get that shorty. Zapatello is like flawless in terms of his spatial awareness with picks.
Wade hits the pipe. Comes all the way out to midfield. McDonald's going to win the race to it. Wasn't able to squeeze it, though. Still a shot, but they're going to give it to Princeton in the middle of the field.
Yeah, it should be a fresh 80, because when it goes across the midline, that's a bad turnover.
Yes, it is.
You got lucky there.
Can Princeton make it work for him? Now we're going to get it in the crease for the Tigers. Mackesy wasn't able to stay out of it as he attacked the cage. Nick Red gets into the stick of Jack Brennan. Haven't seen 41 in white that much tonight, but we will here along with Zach Whittier.
National championship year, Jack Brennan, 13 goals for the Terps, only 2 this season. One of those players struggling to find the back of the net. But he's got the big game experience with John Tillman. A lot of these players were valuable members of that 2022 National Championship undefeated Terp team.
Saw Coach Tillman patting Jack McDonald on the helmet for his hustle. Spanos with the hat trick on the day, 3 for 4 shooting.
You and I had a high school game of Eric Spanos when he played at Malvern in Pennsylvania. I remember seeing this guy. I was like, wow, he is big, he's two-handed, he's smooth. Primarily been a midfielder his first 2 seasons playing for John Tillman. Today he's playing attack, his natural spot. It just says all you get older as a coach, you get perspective, right? And you realize what works for these players. And also you have to take into account, he's had 3 offensive coordinators in 3 seasons. That's not easy. Bobby Benson, who's now the head coach at Providence. Jake Bernhardt's the head coach at Colby. Now you have Michael Phipps in his first year. So there's a lot of change. It's not the easiest thing for the players. It's not the easiest thing for the staff. There's some changes in terminology and philosophy.
Whittier shoots wide. We've seen the celebrations on the Maryland sideline. I don't know if they'll celebrate any more than if a player like Whittier or Murphy score tonight because of their shooting woes. You think they're just waiting with bated breath for one of those 2 to find the back of the net. Here's Whittier. Just dumps in the corner as the shot clock winds down.
It's a good point, too, because when they had those successful runs in 2021, when they went to the national championship, you had Jared Bernhardt and Logan Wisnauskas. Bernhardt was a 99-point scorer. Wisnauskas the following year in 2022, when they went undefeated and won the championship, he broke the century mark. This year, their leading point scorer heading into the game was Braden Erksa with 36 points. So you don't have that true alpha, right? A guy that you can just ride and know. Those are back-to-back Tewaaraton winners in 21 and 22.
And the injury situation to Erksa this year, and Molliver still coming back from a devastating injury last year, hasn't helped that situation. This defense has been tight, though, all year long, and they continue to be so tonight. Princeton just can't get anything going. Kabiri trying to use a Burns pick. Get it back to Burns at X. 18 to shoot. Zapatello helps out, forcing Burns behind the cage. Kabiri. Princeton's going to have to go. Here's Mackesy. Rolls back to his left. Doesn't have a very good shot, though. He's going to have to take it anyways. And they'll get a fresh clock. They'll get a fresh 60 here, Card.
That looked like a kick save by Logan McNaney. And Mackesy finally didn't have Zapatello draping all over him.
What a relief, he thought. Almost was able to beat McNaney, but couldn't do it. So Dunphy now. Danny's made 5 saves. Point blank makes the 6th. McAsee now. Still, though, the pressure. Stanek. Pass too high for Dunphy. Turnover.
This is the Princeton offense, their last 4 games. 15 goals against Penn in the regular season, 15 against Yale. 14 against Yale in the Ivy tournament, played Penn again in the finals, 18. Maryland has held them to 2 goals. Luke Wehrman's part of that, but their defensive strategy and their lockdown approach in terms of owning the one-on-one matchups. Outside of Kabiri, no one has been able to separate.
Syracuse. Going against Marquez. Marquez White. All Ivy short stick D midi. Cora scores! What a game.
It looks like he thinks he's going to make this save with his leg or his body. There's no stick following or going in flow with his step. And Koresh just whistles this one. He's got a lot of traffic. I think Gio might have been screened by his defensive player in front of him.
Yeah,
but you see the lack of, like, you got to have contact with the ball, right? You want to attack the ball with the head of your stick.
I don't think he ever saw the release. I think Billings had him completely shielded from it. Nightmare first half continues for John Fricaro and this Princeton Tigers team.
This is crazy. I did not see this coming.
Tillman gets a timeout just before Koresh lost it. Good timing with 1:08 seconds left to go in this first half. To burn that. You saw Madelon and Mitch there. Mitchell is offensive coordinator. They're going to have to go back to the drawing board at halftime and change something big time. And they're hoping to get out of this possession without giving up another, but they don't. Syracuse joins the party.
Michael Phipps, the offensive coordinator for Maryland, is calling a really nice game. And I'll tell you what, I bet you part of this game was attacking Princeton from behind the cage. This has been a common theme all night long. Taking these short stick defenders out of their element, crossing them up at the goal line and back pipe, and cashing in. Princeton is getting lost in the invert game. These are offensive middies who are taking defensive players out of their element, just dancing on them.
McMeekin too quick on the whistle. Another one goes to Wehrman.
You know, McMeekin coming into this game, the last month has been red hot, like a strength for Princeton. But he has not been able to solve Luke Wehrman this year. I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, last time they played, they faced off against each other 16 times, and Luke won 15 of them. We're seeing a little bit more of that tonight.
Oliver shoots and scores! John Fricaro is not seeing it like he has all year long, is he, Clark?
He's not. And he's a terrific goalie. One of the better netminders in college lacrosse. But I've seen 2 or 3 shots where, honestly, Cotter, there's no reaction. Gio's got to stop this one. Oliver low angle from range on the strong side of Gio. Gio's a right-handed goalie. If he doesn't move his stick, he makes that save. Goal These are interesting Ducks. Mentally, they're so strong, but they also can question themselves in terms of going back to your strengths and your technique and your form.
He has one save on the night. Watch out here, Weirman can shoot. Nice job by Princeton to prevent that from happening. Final 15 seconds. Can the Tigers get something out of this possession here and get some momentum going into the half? Wade will shoot and score! Something to cheer about for the Tigers with 3 seconds remaining.
This is a big-time talent in college lacrosse as a freshman. Tucker Wade burst on the scene early this season. Such a two-handed player. He can let it rip lefty, he can let it rip righty. And boy, oh boy, did they need that goal. You know, it'll be interesting, too, at halftime in terms of what Princeton does. I know Gio's their guy, but he has 1 save, 11 goals against. Matt Madelon is a goalie. Their head coach played the position. He knows the position better than anyone. The fact of the matter is, though, he's going to have to figure this one out.
11 goals for Maryland, the most they've scored all season long in the first half. They'll take an 11-3 lead into the locker rooms. We'll get you caught up on what happened around the rest of the lacrosse world today. First round action. We'll preview tomorrow's games as well at the half, so don't go anywhere. Paul Carcaterra, Chris Cotter with you. We haven't seen this Maryland team since, you and I did the Syracuse game earlier in the year when they beat them in overtime. I feel like it's been since then since we've seen a team like this.
This is the best I've seen them. The 11 goals, the most of any half for the Terps in 2024, and their knowns have really come to play. You look at defensively, Ajax Zapatello has been locked down, but Luke Weirman, I think, in the middle of the field has controlled the tempo of the game. He's completely dominated this contest. He's 13 out of 16 at the face-off X, and he's giving Maryland those opportunities to go on a run and prevent this offense from Princeton that averages 14 goals a game. They don't have any hope of getting back in this game if Weirman plays keep away.
And if Ajax Zapatello continues to play the way he's playing.
His time checks have been flawless. He's owning the one-on-one matchup with Coulter Mackesy, dislodging the ball and really frustrating the star from Princeton. Luke Weirman's been a buzzsaw. He's the most experienced face-off man in college lacrosse. The 4-year starter, Terp's most prolific face-off man in the history of the program. Eric Spanos moves from midfield, from attack, and he delivers with 3 goals in the first half. And then Jack Corus, when he gets it done offensively, this unit clicks at another level. I thought he was the best player on the field when they won the game against Penn State and Happy Valley in the regular season. Now with the 3 goals too, he gives you that added dimension of creating offense off the wings, inverting. This is a Maryland team that's feeling it right now.
Now off the opening face-off, another opportunity, and how about Joffrey Caro making that save? Well, that's huge, only his second of the day, and that's big for Princeton.
Yeah, and it was a Weirman win to a Chorus off the wing pass from Weirman to a step down to Kelly. You thought right away, oh boy, here we go again, right?
I've seen this one before.
But Gio makes that stop, and Matt Madelon sticks with his star. He's rode him all season long, and you win and lose with your goalie like that when you play defense like Princeton does too. They don't slide because they rely on Gio.
Wade scored in the waning moments of the first half. Tried to do the same in the first few seconds of the second half, but McNaney shuts the door. McNaney gets it to the versatile Jack Corus. Hat trick in the first half for 22. He plays all over the field. Syracuse coming in out of the box. Gets open in the middle of the field, shoots. Gio with the second save of this second half. Princeton out on the run. Billings. Good look on the far side. Couldn't get it to McAsee, but he does track it down.
It's a good sign for Princeton with Gio having 2 straight saves after a first half that he wants to forget. If Princeton is going to claw back in this game, Gio will have to have the best half of his season, and that says a lot.
Jabiri on Canfield. Trying to get a pick. Gets it. Temporarily open. Beautiful play. Just robbed that one at Zappatello in the passing lane.
You know, when you grade players, like Pro Football Focus grades players, if you were to grade him out in this lacrosse game, one in white has been flawless.
How about the anticipation, too, to know where that passing lane was going to be to get that stick and cause the turnover. Whittier. Back up top to Keller.
From Maryland to go heavy dose of the invert game in the first half. Princeton has not been able to defend Maryland when they take their midfielders from up top and go behind.
Gio, 200th save of the season, and he's off to a good start in this second half. That's his 3rd. Now Princeton's got to get it done on this side of the field. And they do! And it's the defensive mini, Marquez Whites. And whatever it takes, right?
All Ivy performer. Can lock you down with a short stick with some physicality. Also could run the field. He does a fantastic job of soaking that check and then taking the extra step too. When he takes this extra step, he goes back to the middle of the field to see the entire goal. This is a fantastic play by White. Shoots across his body, but here's the problem. To go on a run, you have to win face-offs, and they have not been able to do that tonight.
Went with Tyler Sandoval on the last draw, and they're going with him again. So Weirman now goes against Sandoval, and Weirman wins it easily to himself. Not deflected, though, a turnover.
Take it any way you can. It's all about the possession, not the face-off wing. Sandoval tore his ACL a season ago. Was a high-volume face-off guy prior to the injury. Then McMeekin emerged to be their go-to guy. But you got to empty the bench, empty the tank, do whatever you can to maybe throw Weirman off too. So even if you have Sandoval for a couple, you could go back to McMeekin just to change the cadence.
Wade to his left to Cameron. McAsee. McAsee gets free. McNaney, though, stops him low. You said it earlier in this game, on those low shots,
so good.
McNaney is just
so good.
Beautiful.
He plays his angles, and he never guesses, too. A lot of goalies are jumpy. Sometimes they'll cheat. McNaney is just by the book in terms of how he plays. He never goes away from his base and his foundation.
Princeton being aggressive defensively. Urksa scoops it. If you're just tuning in, Urksa was a game-time decision because of the injury. He was cleared to play, didn't start, but he's running out of the box for the most part tonight, and it's been effective for this Maryland offense.
Well, what it does, too, it absorbs one of the poles, right? Princeton has 4 long sticks. Urksa's going to get one every time. It opens up opportunities for the Cotters of the world and the Syracuses.
Spanos has his defender hung up. He's looking for a cutter. Now he comes upfield, lowers his shoulder. That gets him free momentarily. Still has it. Ball loose in front. Oh, that would have been a brilliant goal by Spanos. Gio was just the better of him on that try.
You see the 6'5", 220-pound frame of Spanos. Soaking bodies, checks.
Got through 2 defenders. Just wasn't able to solve Gianfrancaro, so now Princeton with another opportunity. They've had some chances to start the second half, Cart. Dunphy, down the alley, slide comes. Here's Mackesy. Looking to get a pick. Behind to Kabir, now far side. Dunphy pushes it back. Still lots of time to shoot for Princeton. Mackesy. Talk about trying to get in front of the goal. Instead, he pulls it behind. Still 15 seconds. Scoop shot hits the outside of the cage. Now we get a flag. It's going to go against Maryland. High risk shot or pass opportunity that time. Barnes couldn't handle, but let's get the call. Our officials tonight, by the way, in case you didn't hear in the first half: Hans Wittelsberger, Dan Bennett, Jason McGinn. Fairly clean game tonight as well. I think this is only the second flag we've had.
There's Hans. I didn't think he does games when it's cloudy.
Yeah, cloudy and cold. It's too much for him.
Fouls on White, 4-0 White. Hit to the head, full time.
So,
Plays under review.
They're going to review it. Hans is going to take a look at it. Hit to the head. That 40 right there is the call.
Yeah, it's Burlace. He called it a hit to the head, 1 minute.
Full time as well. Unreleasable. So they're reviewing that call to determine if it's 1 minute unreleasable. It could go as high as 2 minutes unreleasable.
It didn't look. Is masterful in terms of finishing inside 10 and black.
Princeton 1 minute up, unreleasable. That's Palumbo right there. He'll shoot. Hits the defender in the back and goes out of bounds. Like that caught.
I'll wake you up.
Yeah, that caught one of the defenders right in the back of the helmet, I think. Kabiri. There's Saris, 36, at the top, big shooter, man-up specialist. Princeton being patient with the ball movement. Now inside. That was a look they wanted with Burns in the middle.
Last weekend, the trigger man up top, the point of the extra man was Nate Kabiri. He had some masterful through passes.
Kabiri's on the wing with Canadian Saris right there at 36. Now Kabiri up top to Mackesy. Inside again. That time Barnes couldn't get it through. And McDonald comes away with it. Ajax with a good look to Alvidi. Making sure he stays onside. Now Maryland with possession. And the man down, killed off. So that is a big stop on the defensive end, and we've seen it all night long from the Terps. The second midfield unit getting a lot of run tonight. Whittier, Murphy. Whittier's defender stumbling. He gets a look. Gio, I think, made a kick save on that one. Big ground ball. Still not picked up yet. Now Princeton comes out of there with it, but in a lot of trouble. Back on the turf, Spanos. In all kinds of trouble.
Yeah, I thought Spanos had a good ground ball. I thought that was withholding. Looked like he was chesting the ball and had that grounder.
Got away with it if it was. Now a little unsettled situation for this Princeton defense. Murphy thought about taking advantage of it, but a veteran play, running some clock. They got a fresh 80 with that ground ball, so with this kind of a lead, why not run a little clock? Spanos directing traffic, gets it to Murph. Murphy misses it wide. Stays with Maryland. Still 37 seconds to shoot after that 80-second reset. Whittier gets it to Kelly. Maryland 0 for 6 shooting this quarter. Pass deflected by Bath. Leads his team in caused turnovers, gets another one. Now Mackesy has not been able to get on track all night long.
I'd stay away from this matchup. Maybe try it again with a pick to see if he could get a switch. It's like a lockdown corner on a wide receiver, right?
That half of the field is no-go zone.
Yeah, he changes how you approach your offensive dodging.
Now the double comes on Mackesy. Gets rid of it quickly to Palumbo to the near side. Tries to swim through his defender. Nothing doing. Alvidi does a nice job there on GLE. Now up top. Wade. Nowhere to go. That's Cameron checking. Here's Wade near side. Mackesy. That time, Mackesy was on Alvidi and took advantage.
This is a ridiculous take by Princeton's leading goal scorer. A lefty magician goes to his offhand. No Ajax Zapatello. It's go time in the back of the net. Princeton's not going away. Can they claw back in College Park? Now with a pair of middies, Alexander Vardaro, Graham Bundy Jr. We have them tomorrow, Cotter. That was a great piece, too. You know what I loved about it? Jack Rowlett was cleaning people up, even as a little kid, right?
But as a kid.
Yeah, he's doing the same thing.
That's great. Luke Weirman was drafted 25th overall by the Outlaws, and right now putting a smile on Coach Sudan's face with his play tonight.
And Coach Jim Stagnita, Stags is smiling, too, watching Ajax Zapatello. I got a lockdown guy at number 3.
No doubt.
I think Coulter Mackesy has the potential to be a first-round draft pick next year.
You got him in your way too early big board, don't you?
Yep, first rounder. I think he'll leave Princeton as the all-time leading goal scorer, breaking Jesse Hubbard. That's part of that three-peat with Hess, Hubbard, and Massey.
That's incredible company, and that is a nice play by Michael Bath to cause the turnover. Yet another CT for 17 and black.
Yeah, Hubbard, 163 goals. Coulter coming into tonight's contest, 122. I mean, he could get 40 goals in his sleep in a season.
The way this team is, next year, this Princeton team with this kind of offensive firepower coming back and a year older, they're going to be really good. They're going to be fun to watch. Right now, they're hoping that this second half continues to be a little more fun than the first half was for them. They're back in it. Wade, can he keep it going? Oh, pass in front for Burns. Just goes wanting.
I mean, you have to capitalize on those. When you're down 6, you're not winning face-offs.
Coach Madelon knows it.
10th turnover.
That was a great opportunity right there that goes awry. They've kept Maryland off the scorecard here in the second half. Urksa. Look at that quickness. Gio, much better here in the second half. A completely different goalie.
I would have loved to have been in the locker room to hear his conversation with Matt Madelon. And I bet you it was pretty limited. I bet you Madelon was more hands off than you think, because he was a goalie too, and he knows what he has in his superstar.
Spanos, look at him soaking up the checks and scores! That was a big offside call against Princeton. It turned the tables, and Spanos on the other end continues his magical game. That's 4 for Spanos.
Tell you what, watching this game tonight, I would never play Eric Spanos at midfield again. He's such a big body, but he's shown you some creativity and finishing ability in tight. In the second quarter, you saw that backhand shot. This is a slick, catching one on the head, taking that extra step, and the top hand fake. I just want him on the field all the time if I'm John Tillman. He has to be an attackman moving forward. And I'll tell you what, Ajax Zapatello is leaving College Park after this season. He wears that magical #1 for Maryland. Eric Spanos might have a case.
Okay. To be decided in the offseason. After Zap takes off that Maryland jersey for good, replaces it with the Whipsnakes jersey in the PLL. Princeton with possession off of that face-off, which is a rarity in this game. Lead for Maryland now back up to 7. Maryland's won 15 of 20 to this point. Sean Cameron was at time dominant in the Ivy League tournament. Haven't seen much from him today. Here's Mackesy trying to get that pick. It just isn't working. #1's coming over the top of it. Oh, that's a good look inside, though, and Burns doesn't miss that one. That was beautiful placement by Zero.
The timing of this pass is perfect by Coulter Mackesy, finding Colin Burns. So he wants to pick, like you mentioned, Cotter, but there's help. There's a double team, and the lack of ability to get back inside to cover the crease with Colin Burns. It's too late. Ajax almost late in that progression allows the switch, and he understands that the middle of the offense is open, so he works really hard to get inside. It's just too late, and I thought the pass by Mackesy was perfect.
Face-off won by Princeton, but now it's back on the ground. That looked like Kobe Ginder who took that draw for the Tigers.
That's tough when you win a face-off and you can't win the possession.
McDonald loses his stick and loses the ball, though. So he has to get out of the play, and Princeton will pick up the loose ball.
You know, if I'm Ajax, I'm talking to the defense, and I'm saying, let me get through the pick. You don't need to double. The fact that they doubled on that last goal, it just created offense inside that didn't need to happen.
Stanton. There's a big fella on the run right there, 29 in black. Now they reverse it to Dunphy. Up top, Nakasi. Bouncer, McNady makes the save and tracks it down.
What's impressed me with the Terps tonight as well is they've hit in transition. They've hit in some unsettled situations, and I think that's allowed their offense to really get into a groove, give their players touches, give their players opportunities to finish shots in non-6-on-6 scenarios.
Urksa fires it wide.
Kind of like him at midfield too. I mean, he has that straight line speed. Like if you look at Urksa and you look at Spanos.
Oh, look at that pass. Just as the horn sounds to end this third quarter, man. That was almost a thing of beauty.
I think Urksa's probably a flex guy that you could move back and forth. There's something about Spanos at attack. Defense. The problem is they're not used to doubling. They're not a double team type of oriented defense. They like to put their guys out on an island. They don't slide much. They rely on their goaltender, so now you're asking their defense to kind of get out of their comfort zone, slide early and double. It's not something they're accustomed to.
First possession of this second half to Maryland. Can they clear it at the 60-second mark? They do. But in all kinds of trouble here, and they turn it right back over. Now Kabiri. He'll wait for help.
Got to find those little opportunities like that one. You're going to lose the face-off battle.
And that's a killer right there. Burns wasn't backing up. McNady was. Possession back over to Maryland. On the flip side of this, Kark, if you're Maryland, you just have that one Spanos goal in the third quarter. I don't think you want to go out like that. It's probably a little, Tillman's probably a little disappointed in his team's play, but that'll help. Oliver, and I bet it's good to see number 4 in white tearing up the score sheet like he is tonight.
He's got 2 big ones.
And 3 on the night.
From behind the cage with low angle. He's hit that twice, Cotter. You know, I think Maryland should go to a heavy dose of offense in the fourth quarter from behind the cage with these inverting middies. One is they can own a matchup. The second piece is if you lose the ball behind, you're in a way better position to defend. So you have your strength offensively, but you've safeguarded yourself in the event that Princeton gets the ball. You can go into your ride and you won't get burned by any fast breaks if you don't cash in offensively. So it's almost twofold for me. If I'm Maryland, heavy dose of the invert game, attacking from behind the cage.
To your point on Oliver, all 3 of his goals tonight have been unassisted. He's won matchups.
This has been the best he's played. He was a big-time recruit. He had the knee injury a season ago, and that takes time to come back. But he looks like he has pep in his step. He's got the feet, I think, at a different level than I've seen all season.
Here's Urksa. He shoots. Gio with the save. Now dangerous in front, picked up by Princeton. Billy's in trouble here. Now he runs out of it. Clark, I think the fast start tonight for Princeton was, for Maryland was huge.
Well, it also gave them belief, right?
Yeah, confidence standpoint, because to your point, you're seeing Oliver. You saw Urksa, we weren't even sure he was going to play. He comes in and plays. He's quick and fast. I feel like maybe the last couple of games there was some uncertainty, maybe not from Tills, but maybe from some of the players. And the first 5-6 minutes of tonight's game put all that to rest.
But credit Michael Phipps and John Tillman offensively for mixing things up. Now, we've seen it for 2 weeks now with Molliver coming out of the box playing midfield. But you have like another quarterback who can attack a short stick and give your offense some confidence in terms of a calming force. He's been a heavy ball-carrying guy in the past. And then Spanos at attack. I mean, that could be a shift not only for this game, but I think for the young man's career. He's an attackman. There's a lot of guys in positionless lacrosse over the years that you put one place or you could put them in another. But I think there's always those players that just flourish when they're playing consistent minutes at one position and they're getting more touches and they're on the field for the transition type plays. I think Spanos kind of fits that mold as an attackman.
Winner of this game plays Duke on Saturday in Hempstead.
See who it was? Guess who?
Same as it's been, same as it ever was.
See the timing?
Showcasing that unbelievable talent.
Jim Stagnita, credit him for the Maryland Whips, because on the table at number 3, he could have gone with Pat Cavanaugh. He could have gone with Liam Entenmann, and those guys are going to be phenomenal pros. But the Whips needed defense. Bryce Young gets traded to the Cannons. Michael Earhart, long stick midfielder, retires. He went after his need. And that's not easy when you see Entenmann.
Right, all the eye candy.
Cavanaugh, yeah.
He said it, and look at the bench. Owen Murphy, when he scores, the bench is going to light up because they know it's been a struggle shooting for Murphy and for players like Whittier and Brennan. Murphy scored 34 goals in 2022. And that's just his 7th on the year, but it's big.
Yeah, he's got all the potential in the world. He's slick. When he shoots from up top, he's got a hammer of a release. But this one, he's losing his angle. I think that subtle little lean gets Gio to think he's going low. And the deception on the low angle shot. You see Tillman's head there? He's talking about that. You know, he saw it on the iPad probably 5 times by the time he addressed Owen Murphy.
AI. Everything's AI these days. Even Tills flagged out. The late call going against Princeton. We got a late hit here, and it was a big one. Weirman's down. Weirman's down behind the play in the defensive end. Now he trots off.
You don't want that guy injured. He's the keys to your postseason run in terms of possession, creating runs, stopping runs.
Under 10 minutes to play in this one. Wrapping up a big day of lacrosse where the favorites really came to the fore today, Cart. We were watching and thought maybe St. Joe's, you know, maybe did Michigan have something for Denver? The favorites really came to play.
They did, but if you were watching lacrosse the last 4 weeks, and you and I even said it coming to the stadium, I'm not going to lie, I thought Princeton was coming in with way more momentum.
Yeah. This one is probably the most even of today's 4 matchups. Maybe you think Maryland's a favorite because they're at home and they're the team that is the 7th seed. They're the seeded team. Let's get the call.
Black, 3-5 black with a cross check 1 minute. 3-5 black, cross check right here.
That's going to go against Sandoval.
Weirman's back out there, gets cross-checked. That's a good call. That's blatant
extended the arms.
Blatant. I agree with you. I also think you can't underestimate John Tillman as a coach in the playoffs, right? In the tournament, he's masterful. He's been the standard the last 14 years in terms of consistency. The program's been to 21 straight NCAA tournament appearances. That's the longest streak in the country times 3.
Big man up here for Maryland. They can pretty much salt this one away with a goal here. Far side, and they do. Maltz, a quick stick. 1 mark.
He's a terrific finisher. Father Derek played at Syracuse. Older brother Derek, Syracuse. Dylan won a national title for John Tillman in 2017, playing along some Terp legends in Colin Heacock and Matt Rambo. Dylan was a fantastic finisher, just like Danny. He's got the DNA of a closer. Catch, sixth sense to understand where you are location-wise. Bury it low.
And this Terp offense that struggled so mightily coming into this game, season high, 15 goals. And Weirman just keeps chugging right along.
You know what's going to be interesting to see is what they do next week. Braden Erksa playing a full week. Do they move him back to attack? They keep him at midfield. I like the midfield wrinkle with Erksa because it gives you the ability to invert quite a bit. Run some big lettle with the pick game. Keeping Spanos at attack. And then the straight line speed of Erksa. And look here, he's getting a short stick too. He hadn't had a short stick on him all year playing attack.
Oliver, Maryland. It's just too easy. Maltz again. Maltz has had the ball in his cross for a total of about 1.5 seconds on the last 2 possessions, and he's got 2 goals.
That's what great finishers do. You look at crease guys like Dyson Williams, Peyton Cormier. They don't need the ball in their stick for too long to cash in, but this is a fantastic cut too by Maltz. It shows you his two-hand ability too. He finished that last one righty and then this one lefty. And you're losing angle there. That ball cannot be in your stick for a second. It's got to be hyperspeed, Cotter. Just catch and shoot in the same motion.
McMeekin back out to take this draw against Weirman. McMeekin looked like he was going to pick it up. Instead, it's McDonald. And that'll be Weirman's 20th win of a face-off, which that ties the Maryland postseason record set by Brian Haggerty back in 1998. Weirman continues Maryland's dominance on the night. 16-6, Terps on top.
I think the one
in 2022 most outstanding player championship weekend was Logan McNaney. You remember this, Carc?
Yeah, he's got the baby face, but he's got the demeanor of a KG vet. He was magical in the semifinal win against Princeton, closing the door, and then he doubled down on National Championship Monday, winning most outstanding player.
And the benefit of all the favorites winning in the first round, Carc, is that next week we get to see teams like Duke and Maryland in a quarterfinal game in Hempstead, and the firepower that Duke brings to the table, that guy's gonna have to have a huge game.
He can erase it, and Luke Weirman can erase it. When you think of matchups and breaking things down, you hear it to nauseam. What do they always say? Goaltending and what? Face-offs. Well, you have goaltending. You have a championship game MVP, and you have the most prolific face-off winner in Maryland history, who's been a first-team All-American, has won national championships. So let's not forget, John Tillman has that in his pocket. He's got the ultimate creators of runs and the ultimate blankets of a run.
And he's got a guy in Weirman now who set the Maryland single-game postseason record for face-off wins and single-game postseason record for GBs. He just picked up his 15th on the night.
You win up the middle, Cotter. You win with a goaltender. You win with a lockdown defender. You win with the face-off guy, and you win with an attackman. I think the one piece that Maryland didn't have this year was an alpha at attack. I mentioned they've had 100-point scorers in the past when they've won it all. This year, Erksa was their leading point scorer with 36 points coming into tonight. But tonight, they showed you varied offense and a heavy invert game that Princeton couldn't match.
Beautiful shot by Kabiri. Gets one back for Princeton. So now think about this week for Dino and Caputo and this Duke staff. What they've seen tonight is very different from what they've seen from Maryland previously. So how are they going to treat preparing for this Terp team in Hempstead next weekend?
You watch them when they're at their best, and that's tonight. This is wicked. Cotter, Nate Kabiri is a right-handed player. He's supposed to be the bookend righty version of Coulter Mackesy. That is two-handedness at its best.
Great placement.
But how comfortable he was lifting that ball from his stick with his offhand. That is not normal. You look at this game too, you better get Princeton now, because next year they're going to be loaded.
I think it's fair to say the Ivy League in general is going to be very good next year.
Andy Shea at Yale gets so many of his players back from injury. Chris Lyons and Leo Johnson. Machado Rodriguez will be healthy at the face-off X. Cornell, there is a guy named C.J. Kirst up there.
He's coming back.
Yeah, Ryan Goldstein will be a year older. I think the Ivy is going to be the best league in college lacrosse. Wow. Yeah, I said it. I said it. Because there's so many guys in the ACC now are moving on. Like Pat Cavanaugh,
like
Liam Entenmann. Yeah, it's the end of an era. Brendan O'Neill from Duke.
Schellenberger, Virginia. It's like the huge,
Cormier.
Personalities and players that have just been stalwarts on their teams for so many years.
On paper in the ACC, Syracuse probably has the most talent.
Save made by McNaney. McDonald comes out of there with it. He's got a ton of ground balls tonight. 10 saves for McNaney. If you are John Tillman, when do you start thinking with a 9-goal advantage to start emptying the bench a little bit?
I'll tell you one player I would not put out again is Luke Weirman. He would not take another face-off. I mean, that's your prized possession.
Good to see Shea Keitler. Good to see Sean Creeder.
This was some coaching job by John Tillman. I don't care what you say. You didn't see this coming. This kind of a dominance.
No, especially the way the season ended. Those last 2 games, just.
Yeah, they're worst for offensive production games. And now they have the most goals they've scored in a game, right? So they completely flipped the script. But they did it with changing personnel, putting guys in different spots. You never want to lose your leading scorer in Urksa, who was nicked up. But I think it forced them to be creative with some spots.
Here's Urksa right here tracking down the ball, and he's just going to smartly dump it in the corner so Maryland can set up their ride. So at the conclusion of this game, Clark, we will have the only quarterfinal matchup that we know of before tomorrow. Still got to wait on our 4 games tomorrow, and you and I will be Georgetown, Penn State. Ooh. A lot of power behind that one. Kabiri again, hat trick for 2 in black.
This is a complete future star. He's a freshman, one of the best freshman scorers in Princeton history. And I was talking about his two-handedness. He's a right-handed player, Cotter. This is his previous goal. All right, you want to see the full skill set and the ability to do with both hands?
Wow, look at where that ball goes.
This is crazy. I mean, for a young freshman to be so comfortable with his left and his right, And when you watch him play in his hands and his technique, you cannot tell what hand that guy
is. Shea Keithler taking that draw for Maryland and wins it. So that presumably will be the end of Luke Weirman's night.
I think that was pretty smart, right?
Yeah, and a successful night it was. Now we're seeing some players get some playing time. Elijah Stovall, 44 in white.
He's going to be a dude down the road. He was getting a little bit of playing time early in the season. He is a big body. Played at IMG down in Florida. Can soak a check, can shoot on the run. The hardest position probably to make the jump from high school to college is midfield, because the speed of the game, and then you're expected to play both ends of the field too, and you have to know all the defensive calls, and sometimes there's a lot to process there. It's not easy.
On the run, behind the cage is Signorello. Whittier can't handle the pass. Winner of that Penn State-Georgetown game will play Notre Dame in Hempstead on Saturday. Got Lehigh and Hopkins tomorrow. That's the first game, and then not Notre Dame yet. The winner of Notre Dame U Albany. Make sure I don't get ahead of myself. Sorry, Scotty.
We talk about young guys at Princeton. Scotty Marr's got some young players.
Yes.
Silas Richmond, a sophomore. Ryan Daugherty, the freshman. They've got some crafty young dudes.
That's a team that played better in the second half of the season as well. Like Towson did. Towson's riding a big winning streak coming into their game in the Dome against Syracuse tomorrow.
Yeah, they won't flinch. Sean Nadalin, he kind of embodies that lunch pail mentality, the underdog. I think it's critical if Syracuse wants to win that game, a lot like Maryland today. They need to make their presence felt right away, because if Towson sticks around, I mean, they've been winning for so long, they probably forgot how to lose.
Yeah, it'll be a fun day of lacrosse tomorrow. Stovall working this clock down. Still 25 seconds left on the shot clock as we tick inside of a minute left to go.
When we talk about these matchups tomorrow, Notre Dame and Albany, how crazy is it that 10 years ago was that game at Hofstra with the Thompsons and Matt Cavanaugh winning it? It's unbelievable, right? 10 years ago.
It does not seem like 10 years ago at all.
It was one of the greatest NCAA games I've been a part of. Albany had that huge lead, and then Notre Dame just came back. Ground ball by Cavanaugh late in the game to save it. And then he essentially iced it. Scott Moore would be pretty fun to play for, don't you think?
Yeah. Players coach, no question about it. Cameron now lost it as he tried to swim past his defender. Burlace. Final horn sounds. Maryland is moving on. Coach Tillman and the Terps. Another quarterfinal appearance. They'll play the Duke Blue Devils Saturday in Hempstead.
That man knows how to win in May.
(16-8) the final score. Maryland scored 5 seconds into the game off the opening face-off and never trailed.
Big performance out of Logan McNaney.
Tough call on MVP of this game.
Yeah.
I think. I mean,
yeah. Weirman.
I know. Could be
Spano,
Zapatello.
Zapatello.
Played great. So let's take a look at the bracket now that Saturday is in the books. Got a full slate of games tomorrow. There you see on the bottom, Maryland and Duke. A couple old ACC foes.
Oh, yeah.
Going to go at it again. Saturday on the island. Then Virginia, speaking of the ACC, they're lying in wait for the winner of Hopkins and Lehigh. That starts us off tomorrow on ESPNU. Then on the other side of the bracket, you got Notre Dame and Albany. They'll play in South Bend at 5 o'clock. Talked about that game. You and I have Georgetown and Penn State right here in D.C. And then the nightcap at 7:30, Syracuse and Towson for the Dome.
Yeah, Gary Gait, first playoff appearance as head coach of the men's squad. Brought the women's team to championship weekend multiple times. It's a rematch of a 2017 doozy down in Delaware when Towson actually upset Syracuse.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk to number 1 in white. Ajax will join us on the other side. Terps get the dub in advance.
Like in the lock.
16-8, our final tonight from College Park. Maryland with the win, the 7th seed. They'll advance to the quarterfinals next weekend where they'll play Duke in the quarterfinals in Hempstead. Ajax at Patello, Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, played just like that tonight.
Complete eraser, Cotter. He timed his checks magically. He communicated and ran the heart of the defense for the Terps and John Tillman, defensive coordinator Jesse Bernhardt. When you're a veteran and you know the defense like the back of your hand, you have the instincts to understand when it's time to go. You think he was fired up?
I think he was. He's our Capital One player of the game. Brought to you by Capital One. Ajax, first of all, congratulations. And second of all, how important was it for you guys to get off to a great start tonight, get that goal right off the opening faceoff for some confidence, especially on the offensive end for those guys?
Thank you. Yeah, no, it was huge. That was something, that was a big focal point for us all week, just starting fast. We feel like we really haven't played a full 60 minutes all year. I don't think we still have, but it was definitely very close to that. I thought the guys came out just ready to go, fired up. Anytime it's your last time playing in home stadium, you know, you're definitely going to soak it in and give it your all.
Ajax, you are an animal out there tonight. I want to ask you, what allows you to time your checks so perfectly?
You know, I think just being patient. I have an awesome defensive coach and Coach Bernhardt, and just the rest of the defense trusting me. It's such a systematic defense, and when all the pieces are moving on full gear, it makes it really easy for just things to kind of naturally happen. I know we all kind of trust each other, which is awesome. It just falls back to playing team defense, which is something Maryland has prided itself on for a number of years.
You know, Ajax, I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of people doubted the Terps coming into today's contest because of the last few weeks. You guys answered the bell. What is the belief like in the locker room that gives you kind of the confidence moving forward that this team could go on a run?
Yeah, no, I mean, we got a great group of guys. It's really just stringing stops and runs together. We feel like we really haven't played a full 60 minutes yet. I think we definitely closed that gap and got closer tonight with that, but it's just trusting the guys in the locker room. We have a great coaching staff in Phipps, Bernhardt, Obransky, obviously Coach Tillman, and so just trusting those guys' game plan and then letting our awesome players execute that game plan at a high level. You know, I think we definitely had a chip on our shoulder. Obviously, one of the goals was to win Big Ten championship, and we fell very short of that. So it was nice to kind of come back Thursday and have that reset and just focus on us for a while. And, you know, anytime you're playing in your last home game for a lot of these guys, you're going to make it one to remember, and I thought we did just that.
All right, Ajax, congratulations. We'll see you at the RV, all right?
Sounds good. See you guys there. Let's go.
Ajax Zapatello, our Capital One player of the game. Maryland, 16-8 winners over Princeton for Paul Carcaterra and our entire crew here who did a great job in College Park with the storm and everything at the beginning of the night. Then we got to see a storm from this Maryland Terrapin team. Offense, defense, they made it all work for them. The Terps are heading to Hempstead. We'll see you next week, everyone. Thanks for joining us.